Alright, what's up, guys? This is going to be my first attempt at a podcast. I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't have the right camera equipment, but I'm going to try to do it anyway. So, thinking of a couple ideas. I was thinking about Shepherds and Sheepdogs because there's no church security podcast out there to talk about church security and I feel like there's less and less brotherly type podcasts where you just talk to bros, regular people. What I have with me today is Andrew. Andrew is taking over the director for Ecclesia Christian Church Security. We're out here on the gun range, pulling some triggers, just hanging out and stuff. And it's a pretty nice day. I like it. It's like 75, 77, something like
somewhere
that.
in there. It's a beautiful day. Birds
Andrew,
are chirping and singing. We hadn't scared them off yet.
No, we haven't, have we?
No.
So how's your family doing during the old pandemic thing?
Man, we're doing good. We're just hanging out, doing things. We've been playing a lot more board games, a lot more games. If you have an iPhone, there's an app called Game Pigeon. Comes downloaded to your iPhone, and you can play things like Battleship, Uno,
Sweet.
so on and so forth with your kids, and don't have to worry about collecting all the pieces when you're done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, everybody's kind of like adjusting to the new normal, which is crazy. But the concept of this podcast, I wanted to talk about. I like to talk about some tactics, getting into gun stuff that pertains to church security, but also discipleship, because a lot of people overlook church security as a form of ministry. Excuse me, and not being able to disciple those people because. We tend to be kind of like the black sheep of Christianity because people don't like violence and Jesus. They don't
Right.
think those two things go together.
They don't, but Paul even took a sword out and cut a man's ear off.
Oh man.
And Jesus healed him and put the ear back on. But if you read the Bible, there's episodes of violence throughout the entire Bible, and it's mostly godly men and men that God has chosen to act out his plans. So the old human saying is that you can't have peace without violence, and that's true. You have to have people that are willing to be violent to maintain peace in our world.
Well, there's truth behind Christians having to defend themselves for the past 2,000 years. Since there was Christianity, Christians had to defend themselves.
Right.
Either theologically or philosophically against the Sadducees and the Pharisees, the Jews, or against Islam, or against pagans, and so on and so forth. So, it is one of those black sheep things where people don't think about, violence and Jesus, but it is a necessary evil, if you will. I don't like calling it an evil because, as a sheepdog, you're there to protect. And, here at Ecclesia Christian Church, the church that we go to, we always tell our security guys that, hey, your first weapon should be prayer and patience. Right. It's not one of those things where you have to go 0 to crazy. You should first have a conversation with the person, because the reason why they're upset and potentially acting out in church isn't because they're a form of ISIS or some kind of terrorist group, which all of us probably daydream about, saving the world and kicking in doors and stuff. But the truth is, most of the people are just going to be having a bad day, a bad week, a bad year. And for some reason, they decided to show it during church and let it rear its ugly head. And
well, people come to church for spiritual healing, and you take people that that don't know Christ, and their walk with Christ isn't that strong yet, and they come into our church, and the first people they're going to meet is the parking lot crew waving and smiling, and life's great, and they're just having a really horrible day. They're fighting internal demons that nobody else sees.
Right.
And this goes for veterans, this goes for former law enforcement, this goes for Joe Blow off the street that's just had a traumatic life. Then they come into the church, and we got greeters, and we got everybody, and they're still fighting their demons. And to use one of your phrases that I love, is called verbal jiu-jitsu. Regardless of what size of a man you are, that's your best weapon, is to go to him and try to talk to him and try to back them off of that ledge that they're on to want to possibly do violence or harm somebody. by just simply showing them that they're loved, that people care for them. Man, we
How many times have you seen somebody like looking like down and out, and they show up and you just bro out with them? You're like, "What's up, dude?"
Oh, several times.
And then all of a sudden they just smile. They're like, "What's up, man?"
Yeah.
Sometimes that leads to a story or a testimony or something like that, but it disarms people.
Sometimes it leads them to giving their life to Christ, and we have the joy of watching them being baptized, and the old is gone, and the new has risen, and now we get to mentor them and discipleship them, in a Christian manly manner, to where they can move forward and be better people, live a better life. And not only that, you take that seed and you plant it, and they go back to their home, and they go back to their group of friends, and it spreads like a wildfire.
Now, a lot of guys, and I know you're like me, and so is Joseph. A lot of guys are the same way. You have issues, man. You don't tell nobody.
No,
you handle it. You handle it like handle it like a man.
That's it.
You do your own thing. If you go out to the woods and scream, shoot some guns, punch the tree, whatever you do,
you
never know.
Lift
weights. Guys don't talk about stuff, and they don't share their burden. They don't want to share their burden because of fears of looking like a punk or looking soft, or what is somebody going to think about you? But the discipleship Bible verse or the Bible passage that I wanted to bring up today is my favorite, and like I was telling Andrew before we started this video, is to me it's the biggest brotherly tight knit kind of Bible phrase that to me just expunges and it just bleeds and soaks brotherhood, and it's Galatians 6. Chapter 2, and what Paul says there is, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. If anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. Each one should test their own actions, and they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Nevertheless, one who receives instruction in the word should share all good things with their instructor. Now, what Paul's talking about there is several different things. First and foremost, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you fulfill Christ's law, which is love your neighbor, right? And discipleship. You find somebody who's got an issue, you don't let them handle it on their own. Have a conversation with the guy. Do what you can. Actually care. You know what I mean? It's hard sometimes for us. We got work, we got wife, we got kids, we got bills. Lord knows we got our own problems going on. And a lot of people don't realize, in order for you to truly discipleship somebody, sometimes you've got to take on their burdens. That means you've got to take on their problems. And, you have your own set of problems. Now I'm getting ready to tell you some of mine. And you have to be able to have a group around you, a very small group of guys, that you can go to and say, hey, man, straight up, this is what's going on, man.
Accountability partner. And
as a bro, you have to be careful with, your reaction, because you don't never know what I'm gonna come to you. I might come to you with a porn addiction, and I'm gonna say, hey, Andrew, listen, man, dude, I've got a horrible porn addiction, or man, all I do is sit in the bathroom all day, every day, or I'm cheating on my wife, or it could be as simple as, hey, man, I'm having a tough week, or as crazy as something like that. And I'm not saying that's crazy as in, you're crazy, because everyone's got their own problems, and it's all relative, but Paul is saying a lot right there, and I think the whole of Christianity can be summed up into helping someone with their burdens. And then he keeps talking about if anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves.
That's right. Don't let pride be your downfall, man.
Hey, man, that's just being a boy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's being a dude.
That's just being a man.
Man, my daddy told me a long time ago, a soft head makes a hard back.
It does.
Or a weak mind makes a strong back. I've heard it several different ways, but how many times have you gone somebody's like, man, I bet you can't pick that up. I got this. Yeah. And the next day you feel like crap.
Yeah.
And I don't think it goes away as you get older.
No, it doesn't, because you have younger men. My son-in-law, God love him, he pushes me harder in the gym than anybody else does, because, I have to, in my mind, I have to maintain this identity that I'm bigger and stronger than him. So if we get down on the flat